on Kiss 92.
Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Big Show. It is the big show. So we had 6 people in the studio. Now we have 7 people in the studio because our award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan, is in the flesh.
Yes.
Right here in the studio. Good morning, Jerry.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Wow, we can hear her loud and clear today.
Audio is fantastic.
Isn't it?
Good to have you here with us.
So excited to have you in the flesh.
Very glad to be here, but I chose a rainy morning to be here.
We chose a really serious topic today as well.
I know.
Yes.
Despite all the cheeriness in the studio, the topic today is about suicide.
Yes.
Was there a reason you chose suicide today?
Since last week we were talking about depression, and many people were complaining that the sound system wasn't good and everything. So I was like, oh, okay. So I thought I wanted to make up for another really serious topic, which is very important also. And this is a topic that I wanted to talk about for many years, but everybody says it's a taboo topic. So I'm so happy that all of you are like, okay, let's just do it.
I think
Glenn was kind of afraid at the beginning.
Glenn didn't look at it till this morning.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
But I do think it is something that we need to address, talking about taboo things. If as radio DJs we don't take responsibility about talking about the hard stuff, then I feel like who is going to,
Is there an increase in numbers of the people committing suicide?
I mean, SOS just came out with the numbers, right? So last year was 476. Let's note down the numbers here. Yeah, so, and it had been an increase from the years before. Geriatric suicide had been up also significantly.
Right.
Youths also have been, the numbers have increased quite significantly.
So it's the youths and the older people.
Yes.
Barely the people in between.
I
mean, I'm sure there are some, but more so.
Yeah,
we've been talking about the youth, the kids who have,
Taken their lives.
I find it so hard to even say it.
Yeah.
But since you mentioned the geriatrics, right? Let's touch on that first.
Yep.
Why do the older people commit suicide?
Let's look at the different types of suicide.
Okay.
And then that would help us to make a little bit of sense, right? So we know suicide is intentionally taking your own life. So there are 4 different types of suicide. One is the egoistic suicide, which is when someone feels like they are an outcast. Those that are being bullied, those that are being harassed, those that are not integrated into society.
Wait, hold on. That's a real term? Egoistic suicide? Is that real or did you just make it up?
No.
That's an
So what about
Egoistic
Durham
suicide.
came up with 4 different levels or 4 different types of suicide. So that's one of the suicide. The next one is altruistic. Altruistic is when they are too integrated into a community. So that's when you have mass suicide. So we have those cults.
cults.
Yes.
Yeah, the cults.
Okay.
Yes. Anomic suicide is that sudden change in circumstances and they cannot accept.
Handle it.
So you have those, if we recall the Great Depression, where people lost their money, and they cannot take that situation. So they end their lives.
Let's not go too far. I mean, in the 80s, we had a really bad recession. There were a few people who took their lives here in Singapore as well.
Yes. And then the last one is fatalistic. So those that are, they feel like they're being kept in a stranglehold, or they feel like they are
In
being
a
pushed
tough
to a
situation.
corner. So we know like the Korean K-pop stars.
Yeah.
Where they
lot
feel
of them.
like, they have to adhere to so many things. They feel that they cannot manage anymore.
Or even people in an awful relationship as well? That would be it? Okay.
Yes. And prisoners of war also.
Yeah.
You see many of them taking their own lives. They rather do that than
Face.
Suffer the
continue.
PTSD.
Yeah.
Right. That looks kind of weird. The last one, fatalistic suicide.
Yeah,
It's like
it's like
suicide
an
is already fatal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry has highlighted 4: egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide, anomic suicide, and fatalistic suicide. Let's continue to talk about this on the Big Show TV, and then we'll come back on the radio once again. Meantime, here's my Coy Leray and David Guetta. Make my day on Kiss 92.
My coilery.
My
Okay. Okay, so should we delve deeper?
Yeah, so I'm going to ask Glenn, since he was taking notes.
Yeah, he's the only one.
I see him taking notes.
He's the only one that has the
Wow.
pen in the studio.
Because
That's
you're
why he's
here,
taking
you see,
notes.
I'm like that.
This is
Virtual,
just-
I'm like,
This is just showing off. That you're here,
Virtual, I'll be here, like just sitting down.
Having his
you know.
coffee.
But now you're here. you
No,
know,
no, he's-
like my lecturer. Like.
Ayo.
But is there a reason you are taking notes?
No, only
to
because
be-
There's a list.
Only because I've never heard that there are different types of suicide. So
Suicide,
when she mentioned egoistic suicide, I'm like, huh?
No, and when she said different types of suicide, I thought different ways to die.
Oh, no, there's
Do you
many
know what
ways,
I
more
mean?
than 4 ways
That
to
was
die.
that was my simplistic
Yes,
thought, but I
yes,
didn't
yes.
realize the causes behind it.
And who
Yes.
would come up with these 4?
Emil Durham.
Emil Durham.
Durham.
Okay.
Emil Durham.
Okay.
I hope I pronounced
I've heard
his
of
name.
Bull Durham.
Emil
different
Durham.
this
No,
one.
no, different guy.
Wasn't that Kevin Costner? That movie.
Yes, so since you've written it down, where do the geriatric suicides fall under?
Oh wow.
I would say
Anomic?
ego or fatalistic.
Anomic? I still don't know.
Perhaps you're not wrong.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, could be egoistic as well, right?
Yeah.
Because
Egoistic or fatalistic, because either they feel like there's no way out, or there's no way to, especially if they have quality of life
life
is
issues.
low.
Yes, you're
you know,
right.
If you have a lot of
Yeah.
issues, a lot of problems, then you feel like
Yeah.
every day you wake up is like you're just facing more pain.
Yeah.
And also egoistic would be like you're outcast from the family
Yes.
and nobody wants to
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
after you.
because I mean, your whole life, you may have been like really active and all that, and all of a sudden,
So
Yeah.
hard.
And also a lot of that generation that's like older now, they lived to make sure that we could have a life that we wanted. You know, there were no creatives in the time of like the generation above
Yeah.
us. And now that we're all thriving, we're all doing our stuff, it's easy to forget for them to feel like they've lost purpose maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
And connection.
Which is why I mean, for the older ones who are tuning in right now, I think they've probably figured it out already. But you know, I mean, as we grow older, it's so important to take better care of ourselves.
Yes.
You
And
know,
be a bit selfish, you know, like do things
Yeah.
you want to do.
because you know, I
Yeah.
mean, if you stay healthy, you know, not only do you benefit from that, your family benefits as
And
well.
I think also being independent, because I feel like a lot of old people depend so heavily on their children or their grandchildren, and it doesn't always turn out
Yeah.
to be that they're going to look after you, you know?
Coming from a much older person's perspective.
67 years old.
He speaks.
Young.
No, because I wanted you all to say that, because this is a very real thing.
Yeah.
There is a sense of loss when your family grows up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't fill that void. You try hobbies, you try this, you try,
Yeah.
but you can't fill that void. And the only way I feel you'll fill that void is if you get involved in charity and keep helping, because your whole life has been about helping
Helping
people
something,
achieve.
yeah.
And you need, a lot of the elderly need to keep that going. And the only way they can do that is to get involved in charity.
Or a
their
community of
or a
some
community.
sort, yeah.
Then their life has a meaning. The minute their life has a meaning, what comes into their head is, when their life has no meaning, what comes into their head is, what's the
am I
point?
here?
Nobody needs
why
me
am I
Yeah, but
here?
What's the point?
But I don't think that
Absolutely.
should be first priority, though. I think the first priority should be, because you're talking about
Health.
like health should always
Obviously,
be first
always,
priority.
yeah, yeah.
Because you have
Yeah.
no health, you can't help
You
other
can't help
people.
other
Yeah, but
Right.
on
Yeah,
top
that's
of that,
true.
I think he's
So-
assuming that if the person is healthy, able, and willing,
Yeah.
then community
Yeah.
work
And
and
It's
charity.
But
very
you know, we
important.
always talk about purpose, right?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
keep on thinking about this, right? Purpose is very important.
Yep.
But if you take that as the be all and end all, it's not going to end up well either.
Well, I think
Eh,
there has to be a nice balance between health and happiness, because you can be happy with no purpose. Some
Yeah.
people do fine, right?
Yeah.
But some people need the purpose to feel
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, but isn't the end goal of like the Maslow chart and all that the
Yeah.
purpose where you give
the
back?
meaning of life. So
It's
health,
self-actualization.
yes, that's right. But health is the basic. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the basic
You have to have
like
that.
Foundation. It's your foundation.
And we're
Yeah.
not asking like the seniors to go out there and do like hardcore workouts.
No.
What? No.
No.
But top of mind. So things
Keep
that
busy.
things that keep you healthy. You do it. Do a little bit of moderate exercise and stuff like that. Watch
Yep.
your diet. Don't consume things that's gonna damage your body.
Yeah.
Things like that.
But like
I-
what Dr. Jerry says, that is the basic. Everyone
the
should be
base.
doing that. It shouldn't
That's the
even be
base.
on your mind.
But it's not. But I
it should-
feel like the
yeah,
older
it's
people
not.
feel like, oh yeah,
I can do anything.
Anyway, I'm old already, so it's okay. I'm just
And I've
gonna.
lived this long, I can
I'm
eat
just gonna
anything I
do
want,
anything
right?
I
Many
want.
of you have got this backwards. They're doing that because they have no purpose.
Yeah.
They have no reason
They're
to look
feeling
after
like-
themselves.
yeah.
There is no reason for them to look after themselves. A lot of the older people need a reason.
But because they're
We're-
not
we're think-
selfless enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're thinking like we think.
Selfish.
It's not
Selfish,
yeah,
not selfish.
They're
No,
not,
but I also know of a lot of people who are, who feel like, okay, my purpose is to help, this organization or that organization. But at the end of the day, they're smoking like
They
crazy,
forget
they're drinking
themselves,
like crazy,
yeah.
they're eating like crazy, they're overweight. This is what I mean, you see. It shouldn't be like that.
Kiss 92 traffic.
So we've got the usual delays across the expressways. Nothing there should surprise you too much. Just stay within the speed limit, please. Make sure you've got everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
All right, welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV.
Yes, the double big.
We have with us Dr. Geraldine Tan in the studio. She is from the Therapy Room, and you can follow her at the Therapy Room.
SG.
On Instagram.
Yes.
SG. Is that SG?
There is
I can't
an
see the
SG,
SG.
yes.
Oh, okay, there is an SG on the screen. All right, so today we're talking about suicide.
Yes, and I think we've been talking quite a bit amongst ourselves on the Big Show TV. Love Dr. Jerry to jump in and kind of like wrap up what we've been trying to say.
Are we actually on course or are we off from what we've been saying?
On course, and then you totally went off. I think we were looking at the last few years.
What's
I know, right? The last few years where COVID hit and these geriatrics was feeling very, very displaced, I would say. Yeah, so for example, one of the cases that came to me very desperately because the GP was calling me, it was because he suddenly, it wasn't the purpose, was it a purpose? He would meet up with his friends every day, he would go for his basketball every day, and this is the 80-plus-year-old man who is still very fit, hale and hearty, given the little, medical conditions here and there.
Did you say hottie?
Hearty.
Hearty.
I thought I heard you say hottie. I'm like, oh,
For an 80-year-old.
hottie. Still a hottie.
Anyways, he came because he said everything is cordoned off. I cannot meet my friends, social distancing. What do I have to wake up to every day? I lost my routine. I lost my friends. They don't belong to the generation to
Call or
do like
text.
video calls, not even call, but video call,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not used to it. They love to sit. So he would play basketball, and then after that sit at the kopitiam and then have a
Chatter,
chat
yeah.
until late afternoon where he'll go back, and then that
He
is
had a
his day.
routine,
He had
yeah.
a routine. He completely lost it.
Yeah.
So he wanted to spend the rest of his time this way, and he said, I've lived so long and I look forward to this, and this is taken away. So
Yeah.
you know,
But you see, he's done his very best to stay, as you mentioned, to stay fit and what.
Yeah.
And life dealt him this
Yes.
this blow. So so he can just think about it and go like, this is not my fault.
Yeah, but
But
not
what I'm
everyone
saying-
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but,
doesn't.
but what I'm saying is there are many also, right, who end up in a certain predicament because it is something that they've been doing their entire lives. It is their doing that they have come up with perhaps maybe this sickness or this disease because their entire lives they've not been taking care of themselves.
You're stopping short of
You know
saying
what I
it's
mean?
their fault.
It's their fault.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like they dug
that
their
is different.
own- their
then you
own
have
hole,
then you
basically.
have this regret. You see, like, you know, like I'll never forget the Yul Brynner, what do you call TV ads when he was diagnosed as having lung cancer, and the doctor said, you know, he only had months to
Yeah.
live. There were all these TV ads that were going around the world in theaters as well. Yul Brynner telling everyone don't
Stop
smoke.
smoking. Right.
Wow.
If there's one thing I regret in my life, it's
Yeah, I think I
smoking.
remember something
Yes.
vaguely
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You know, so, well, I mean, I just wanted to say that.
Right, okay. Okay, let's go back on the Big Show TV and continue this conversation about suicide with Dr. Jerry.
All right, it's 8:15.
Kiss 92 Time Check brought to you.
Okay.
Okay,
does
I've
that
said
have
my piece.
Does that have
Okay.
anything to do with suicide, though?
I mean, it's a very simplistic way to put it. You know, it's maybe part
I'm a simple
of
man.
Simple person. Yeah.
Well, I think also being able to simplify your problem and looking at it that way, being like, okay, maybe I've dug myself a hole and I need to get out of it.
Yep.
I think it's one of the hardest things that anyone will be able to
Yeah.
see. But I also think that it's not, and like, not everyone's mentality, and also not a lot of people have that created a routine like that, you know, in life, or a negative routine. But I don't think that this gentleman's routine was necessarily bad.
No,
but
of
it
course
is
not.
something that he's leaned on, you
Yeah.
know,
for a
And
long time. Yeah.
I think also, I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but my grandma, she used to play mahjong, you know, keep her brain
Busy,
active.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she loves playing mahjong, right? Don't need to play for money, just play to like have conversation with your friends. And, you know, it takes a while. So she has a whole day where she plays. And then slowly, one by one, her kaki all
Passed away.
yeah, because she's
Yeah.
92 this year, 93 this year.
Right.
And so, you know, slowly, because I used to live with them maybe like 10 years ago for like 2 years or something. And I could see just she at that point only one kaki had gone.
Yeah.
And she was already very upset about it. So I can imagine, you know, every time I offer, when I have the time to go over and play for an hour or two, she's so elated and excited about it.
Yeah.
But also, I think something that affects the older generation too is that their friends are all
dying.
leaving, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a big part of
Yeah.
what makes
So
life
it is-
almost
But I
not
mean,
worth
at that
living.
age, you know, in her 90s, you're
Yeah.
saying, right?
And is there something we can do, like to create
Spend
activities
time
or
with
talk?
them.
Yeah, what's the best thing to do with the older people to make them feel more fulfilled? I
But see,
guess?
your definition of older people is the 90s. My definition of an older person would be in the 70s. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
To me, a person in her 90s or his 90s, if they're starting to think about, you know, the fact that, okay, I
Life.
you know, life, I've kind of had, you know, a full life now, and it's coming to an end. I think it's natural. I'm not saying that they should take their lives, but I'm saying
Yeah.
at 90, can you imagine yourself at 90? I mean, how many of us will reach 90?
I don't want.
But you see, many people say, no, I don't want, right? But when you hit 90, and if you have that kind of mentality, like, oh, you know, the end is near, and I'm feeling a little down, I think that's natural. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
But I
and I
would-
don't think that they would take their lives. I think we're
Yeah.
looking
Yeah,
at some
suicide
you
is
know,
different.
a group of people that is very, very different, and we have something called geriatric suicide. So, you know, on the clinical disorders, those with mental health issues, those with depression, those with anxiety, in some of the borderline personality, schizophrenia, they also can be vulnerable to suicide because, you know, the disorder takes over. I think when I was younger, you know, in my undergrad, and I was writing a paper, and we were looking at what caused suicide. So it's not only the clinical disorders that cause suicide, it is also impulsivity, when people are very impulsive.
So they haven't
financial-
thought it through properly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Financial circumstances and also substance abuse. So growing up, I was that era where there was a lot of secret societies
Yeah.
and glue
Glue
sniffing.
sniffing,
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
God,
The
drugs.
90s, yeah.
Yeah.
That was way before my time.
And you hear stories and police coming in and say, you hear the examples they give of people glue sniffing on the staircases,
Yeah.
and then they walk up and then they just fall over the parapet, and they don't intend to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unintentional, yeah.
But that would be substance abuse can also lead to.
But that can't really be considered
Intentional.
suicide, right? Because if they
But you crossed
unintentionally,
it.
yeah,
It's
but
unintentional
but
suicide.
not
maybe?
everyone who does drugs ends up.
No,
You know
not
what I mean,
everyone.
like that.
Not everyone, but it is a self-injurious behavior that leads to death.
It would certainly
Right.
lead to depression, I think.
I think depression is something that
Yeah.
aids it, if
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Are all people who commit or decide to commit suicide depressed?
Uh,
A lot of them, or
so the controversial question about euthanasia. So Singapore doesn't have euthanasia. So in the papers yesterday, we saw that Canada will allow people with mental health conditions like depression to have euthanasia
That's a bit extreme.
for next year. Yeah.
Sorry,
people
what
with
does that mean?
when you can decide
Yeah,
to
legally.
legally
Kill yourself.
end your life. So I don't know. Would that be counted as suicide?
Yeah,
for
I think
you?
so.
Of course.
I think so. Yeah.
Choosing to take your life.
Euthanasia.
Yeah, it's choosing. to
Is
take a-
euthanasia suicide?
How different is it though? I mean, if you're injecting yourself or however it is medically done, how different is it from say
ODing or
jumping off a building or hanging yourself or
So it is very controversial. I mean, we all have our opinions. Some of them that decide to go for euthanasia, they have been struggling with medical conditions for a long time. So typically,
Yeah.
they say, I have enough. I'm in too much pain.
Yeah, like
Please
chronic
let me
pain.
go.
Yeah.
But how will it be-
I will say I'm pro euthanasia.
how will it be done? Is it done under a doctor's watch?
It has to be.
But does the doctor make the shots as well? Like call the shots, say, okay, you're qualified for
Yeah, does someone
euthanasia
have
because
to
not everyone can just
qualify
go.
them?
Okay, I'm not a medical
don't- Yeah.
doctor.
No, but based on what I've read,
yes,
like in the
based
past,
on-
euthanasia, there's
Yeah.
some countries that have legalized euthanasia.
Yeah.
I can't remember which country it is, but you actually go to a facility, a medical facility,
But how does
and they inject you.
But doesn't
And
the
you just sleep.
medical
There's a whole-
facility
there's
have
a-
to say yes or
There's
no?
a whole interview system and psychological test that you go through before this is even considered.
Yeah.
And then the final call is the medical professional,
The
right?
final call is the result of your test, yeah.
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 Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
You know how
I
we
don't-
always say, I mean, when it's time for us to go, the best way would be like, okay, just, sleep and
sleep
just
and
go.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
but it is your own life.
Yeah.
And I am for people deciding on how they should handle and deal with their own lives. That's for sure.
yeah, definitely.
We do know some of them that have attempted, and they say that they are in so much pain. So when I say these are the mental health clients that I see. So those with depression, those with struggling with their mental health conditions and very severe conditions, and they feel too much.
Yeah.
What do we do if we know of someone who's thinking of taking their own lives? I mean, how do we handle it? Are there things to say or not say?
And is there a number? Maybe we should
There's
keep
an
on
SOS, I think.
reminding
SOS,
everyone about the number.
yeah.
SOS,
It's just like
yes.
4 numbers only or something like that, SOS.
I think
it's
there's
once-
more than that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll Google
you
this.
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys go on. Keep
so
on talking.
how do we deal with someone if we know that they're thinking of ending their lives?
Interestingly, when I was thinking of doing this session today, on just over the weekend, because I handle a crisis number.
Oh,
over
right,
a
okay.
weekend, this particular lecturer called and he said, and he sounded so panicky, right? He said another of my student actually called and say,
Oh, traffic. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry, we'll take
No
this.
worries.
We'll take
Yeah.
this on air.
Kiss 92 traffic.
The BKE towards the PIE, a vehicle broken down before the PIE exit. AYE towards Tuas, an obstacle on the road after Alexandra Road entrance. Congestion is to Lower Delta Road exit, avoid lane 1. We have the PIE towards Tuas, an accident after Thompson Road exit. Congestion is to the CTE City. KJE towards the BKE, an accident after Chua Chu Kang Way. Congestion to Sungai Tengah Commonwealth Drive. Traffic lights are faulty. Please stay within the speed limit. Have everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is from the therapy room. She is award-winning psychologist, Dr. Geraldine Tan.
Hi.
Hi.
Did I scare you? I'm sorry. I'm right next to you. Hi.
So, Dr. Jerry, we're actually talking about quite a serious topic about
Yes.
suicide. And I asked you on The Big Show TV, how do we deal with someone if we know that they're going to try and take their own lives?
And I was sharing, one of the crisis calls that I received was a lecturer calling for some advice because one of the students actually alerted him to another student that was contemplating suicide. So he couldn't reach the particular student, so he was quite desperate. So what we want is to, in situations like that, to expand the resources, the social resources, because if it's a student, there may be other people that know of the situation.
Yeah.
We are all connected via all the social media. Check all the social media. Make sure that they are safe. They are still engaging on it. When they stop engaging, we start to panic because they are usually on their WhatsApp, their Telegram, their IG, their
Something, yeah.
Twitter, or
But do
something
you
or
go
other.
to them if you can? Like physically, do you be
Yeah.
with them?
So we want to know who is with them. Yeah, so you don't need to rush to be with them, but you need to know that someone is with them and someone can keep
Capable,
them
yeah.
safe. Yeah, and keep an eye out for them. I mean, if let's say you really, really cannot manage, or you can't keep the person safe, bring the person to A&E.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
what if you
Yeah.
are the person that's with them? Is there something like, do you just watch TV or do you want
Yeah,
to
what do you
talk?
keep
Or
with them?
Make
what's
sure that the
best?
person is within your eye shot.
And but what
that
do
you
we
can
do? Just
see.
But
watch.
do you need to keep them engaged?
Yeah.
No, sometimes they are depressed. Sometimes they are grieving. Sometimes they feel whatever emotions that overwhelm them. So you,
Yeah.
So
you
just be
don't
around.
need to talk to them.
Just be
Or you can ask them, would you like to talk? And if they say no, please don't bug them anymore.
And don't be
Okay.
annoying.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
be-
Yeah, I have a friend whose mother-in-law, took her own life.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and in the most horrible way
Oh.
as well. She just jumped out the window.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I just found out the number, 24-hour hotline, Samaritans of Singapore, 1-800-221-4444. That's 1-800-221-4444. And this is an interesting...
The four numbers I was saying, right?
Yeah, so if you were to just Google SOS hotline, there is this. I don't know whether you guys can see it.
Wrong camera.
Oh,
No,
oh,
can't see. Can't
okay.
see.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Okay, look at this.
Help
So
is
for people who
available.
are maybe on the verge
Yes.
already, and
can
they don't want to
speed
key in so
dial.
many numbers, or they can't find a number quick enough.
Yes.
There is just one big kind of
Button.
to press.
1767.
Yeah, 1767. The moment you hit that, you go straight. Someone will pick up the
So
phone.
what do people have to Google for that? SOS
Just
Singapore?
SOS hotline.
SOS
That's it.
hotline.
And this is the first thing
I
that'll
think it's all the
appear
same number,
on
so you
top.
can just
1767.
yeah 1767.
Yeah, but you can also call 1-800-221-4444. That's
Yes.
24 hours a day.
Yes, please call them. They are there online, on site, and they will answer your call.
And I like what it says immediately at the top. It says, help,
Help
is
is
available. Speak
available.
with someone today.
Yeah.
Once again,
Yeah.
the number is 1767.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I think that's very important, right, Jerry, that people talk
Yeah.
to someone.
Yes, they
you know,
need to talk. They need to share.
they
Yeah.
definitely do. And I think many people talk to their friends, and sometimes their friends are not the best people
No.
to talk to. So why not just give this number a call, 1-800-221-4444. I'm sure they'll keep your call confidential and
But
private.
and also just I
Definitely.
feel like people need to not be ashamed if that's the place that you're at. We live in a time where we know too much.
It's
at
easier
any
said
one
than
point in
done,
time.
though.
No, you
It's
see-
For
easier,
sure, for
yeah.
sure.
People are ashamed only because of the way society looks at you.
Yeah.
It's not the person that needs to change. Society
Mindset.
needs to change.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
we look at people when
Yeah.
they go to a psychiatrist, when they go to a psychologist.
Yes.
It's how society looks at them. I don't see why that person has to change.
Yeah.
No,
it's
not at all.
society that must change.
Yeah.
But what I mean is to normalize the idea that
Yeah,
you
of
can
course.
sometimes not feel okay, and
It's okay
that's
to not be okay.
Exactly.
It is okay to not be okay.
So
remember
if
that.
you need to call someone to talk, there's nothing shameful about that. You're not losing anything. It's more of you're doing something for yourself to be better.
yeah,
you know.
you're gaining in
Yeah.
all ways.
Definitely. Okay, Jerry, on the radio, thank you very much for being with us.
No
Thank you so
worries.
much. We'll continue to talk a little bit more, on the Big Show
On the
TV.
Big Show
but
TV,
but
yeah.
your last words before we go to the Big Show TV.
And this, I've got permission from a mother who's lost a daughter just, and the daughter left a note to the family. And the note says, it's a very short one, to everyone that I have loved until my last breath. It's not your fault.
Oh my God.
Wow, you know how important that note is.
Oh,
That note. So
thank you,
So
Dr.
important.
Jerry. It's like tissue.
wow.
Wow, okay.
We've been speaking to Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Up next, Tomorrow by Together, featuring the Jonas Brothers. Do It Like That on Kiss 92.
Wow.
Oh my
What
goodness.
powerful words.
Thank you. Thank the mama
Wow.
for allowing us
her
to
to share.
share.
Yeah, I
But,
asked
you know-
her last night because I
You
had
what?
a-
Sorry?
I asked her last
Oh, you asked her last
yeah.
night. How soon was it that she lost her daughter? How recent?
But that was so thoughtful of the daughter. You know, that one note.
To say to
Oh, yeah.
sort of clear everyone's conscience that
Doesn't
it's
stop
Exactly.
it doesn't
crying.
stop from grieving. Yeah.
Of
No, it
course,
doesn't.
of course.
It
But
doesn't.
wow.
Thank
Wow.
you, Dr. Jerry.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dr.
Jerry.
Jerry.
It's so nice to meet you in person.
Jerry, this is Nian Tjoe, by the way. Nian Tjoe, Jerry.
You guys are color coordinated, outfit coordinated.
We should all take a photo first.
Oh,
Do we have time?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it. No problem.
yeah. Go
No problem.
Yeah, let's go.
See everyone. This is what happens behind the scenes, and that's why we have the Big Show TV.
Yes.
Let's go to the wall.
Give us a few minutes. We're going to take a picture.
Yeah,
You know
bye.
you're coming in again next week, right?
No! I cannot.
Every Tuesday.
Let's try and fix the audio.
Yes. Let's try it.
Oh, it's nice having you in here. Is it very far for you?
We'll pay for your bus fare. How about that? It's our first group photo, man.
No, we have one. We have you took the selfie one.
Oh yeah, that's true. But not with Jerry and.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, full Tuesday crew.
Yeah!
You gotta send it to us.
Okay, I sent to Shalini.
Okay, bye. Have a good day. Have a good day. Nian Tjoe, this is your seat.
Bye.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, we're back.
Hey,
We're
you
back.
know your way out.
Okay.
Wait, Cheyenne will take it off.
I'm okay. Just
We're
go.
back. Just
Okay, let's get back into
spoiled already.
position. Hello again.
Okay, okay.
Hello,
back.
everybody. Hello.
We're back. We're back. We took pictures. Okay, we're done.
Thanks for the patience.
Thank you very much.
And now we talk about COE. Good stuff.
Oh, everyone can buy cars again.
Yay! We hear
Wait,
that
but
there-
can we?
No.
I can't.
No speculation.
Because
Vigorously
did.
shaking his head.
No, but even
The
with
cars are cheap again.
no.
No, there-
with a
there's
big
more
dip, it's
COE.
Since when?
Okay, I tell you what. Let's have the expert talk.
So how
Nian
does
Tjoe.
this work?
Where's
How
the
do-
expert?
you.
Nian
lah.
Tjoe.
Sorry.
You. Just say where is the expert?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Talking about more COEs available in the next 3 months.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay,
right.
tell us
so
more.
I think the headline sounds positive.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
There's always a but.
yeah, I should not pop the champagne just yet. What we're looking at is a likelihood that we're going to get more as the year progresses and
Okay.
into the next year. So before you know it, we're actually talking about the last quarter already. And all this increase is not very much. I worked out that for cars at least, for the small cars you get a bit more, but each time in the tender exercise you get like 50 odd pieces more. That's not a lot when you think about everybody who's been saying that I want a car.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
for
everybody
sure.
can be individuals like you and I,
Yeah.
still hoping.
Private
and then there are-
private car
yes, then there are all
hire,
the
yeah.
businesses and all
Yeah.
that. And at the same time, there's all this other. I think was also raised in the story that typically at least in the motor trade, there is a rush for year end. So it's not just getting consumers to get in to buy a car for Christmas sort of thing, but it's also on the dealer side. They need to push the numbers to hit the targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this means that on one side, okay, COE is not going to come down because
Yeah, exactly.
I give you more, I also want more.
Correct.
I think to put it very simply.
And for example, I mean, if they promise their customer, look, I guarantee you a COE.
yes.
It means that when they go in, they're going to bid higher as well. Right?
Yes.
They want to try
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
and get it right
Yeah.
by all means and all costs.
Yes. So I mean, I always like to share this as the pretend expert, the pro tip, right? Is that you think about it is in terms of the motivation from the dealerships that want to sell the car because they're doing it for their survival to get they are also gunning for bonuses.
Yeah.
So it might stand to reason that okay, on one side COE is going to go up, but I would say that as a consumer, if you can just reel in your emotions, right, bargain hard. If you don't get the number you want, walk away, because there's the next dealership who's maybe slightly easier, more malleable,
Yep.
a little bit more willing to meet you some way. Yeah, and then on the other side is oftentimes the other thing I'm thinking of, just private buyers, right? Is that those who do not have a car, I mean, just like if you don't have a house, you can't sell it. You're not going to have that big lump sum injection. So you're of course on a back foot. But the others
Who
are-
drives here, by the way? Just very quickly. Daphne and myself, I
Myself?
think. Oh, and Nian Tjoe as well. Okay.
and I take a bus.
Angel sometimes drives, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't drive FD.
Gave up driving a long time ago.
Like we all
He-
can drive.
He will
It's just-
langa the tree like, if he
Yeah.
drives. He can't see already. He said.
Oh dear.
That's why he gave up. That's the reason he gave everybody.
But it's annoying to not have good eyesight and have to drive.
Of course.
It's annoying
Let me
to
just tell you,
drive.
who's annoying and who's annoying. This guy is annoying. Let me just tell you why this guy is annoying, okay?
Oh, no.
I've been working with him for so many years, and I know he wanted to get a Jaguar.
Okay.
Right? So he drove all the other brands. So in the end, boom, he decided to get a Jaguar. Right?
One
And
year
Jaguar,
later.
wow, I'm so happy for him, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never drive.
We park next to each other and
Oh,
all
like
that.
husband and wife, so cute.
And then suddenly 1 month later,
1 year later.
or is it 1 year later? 1 year later, he sold his Jaguar.
Tell the Jack.
And
Give
then
up.
I
Give
said,
up.
why?
Can't see anymore.
He can't see anymore.
I thought it was
because
he
I-
couldn't hear anymore.
So
That's-
why I say it's
Be
annoying?
happy because he's doing the safer thing.
No, but I
Yeah.
always want him to have what he wants. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So for years, right, like
And I did.
15 years before that, already, I said, get the damn Jaguar.
And then
Get it.
he finally
And
got
And he
it.
waits for like, wow,
And I
one,
did.
right at the end, 1 year only.
and then no more.
But was
Because
it
to
a
me-
blissful year?
It was a blissful year, and honestly, I save money now.
Yeah, and you probably saved yourself.
Public transport.
That's not the point. The
is
point is
cheaper.
every member of his family, his line, okay, all
had
of
it.
them owned a Jaguar.
And I did
so that's
too,
the
so I
reason
didn't
why.
break
Tick
it.
that box. Yeah.
Yeah,
Done.
but
I've
he didn't-
ticked the box.
Oh my God, just
He's,
was
he's
enjoying
more
it.
pissed off than anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
and
he's so pissed off.
I
I
don't
thought it was because you had to give him
why.
a ride or something.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know why he's pissed off. I got my Jaguar. I'm done with my Jaguar. I'm saving money. I'm very
This,
happy
this
with
is
public
Jaguar the
transport.
car, right?
Yeah.
Not the cat.
Yeah,
What
just-
did
just
you
to make
think
sure.
it was?
I must pronounce it
Wildlife.
properly. It's Jaguar.
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 Was it in racing green?
It was in red.
Oh,
Or was it the
right.
Austin Powers one?
It was in red, like his beret red. His hat red.
That's racy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Also a weak color for a Jaguar.
Oh dear.
Oh, the shots keep coming.
All right, let's
Stand
go
by,
on.
stand by.
Hey, not a lot of
Right,
people can say they want something and they get it, you know?
Yeah.
Even for a year.
Not just anybody's. And if you ever leave, then never go on. Nobody love.
Kiss 92 traffic.
There's a lot to tell you about. SLE towards the CTE, a vehicle broken down before Woodlands Avenue 2. PIE towards Changi, vehicle broken down after Bukit Batu East Avenue 3. PIE towards Changi, vehicle broken down after Jurong West Avenue 2. KPE towards the ECP, an accident after the TPE entrance. KPE towards the TPE, an obstacle on the road after Bartley Road East exit. BKE towards the PIE, a vehicle broken down before the PIE exit. Please stay within the speed limit. Have everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
Good morning and welcome back to the Big Show and the Big Show TV. That's because we have Daphne Koo with us every Tuesday.
That's right.
And if you count our producers, we have like 6 people in the studio. That's without our guests. And then, Jerry comes in, and today Nian Tjoe is in. We've got 8 people in the studio.
Yeah.
How about that, huh? Nian Tjoe is the senior transport correspondent at the Straits Times. And today we are talking about one of the articles that was written by his colleague Christopher Tan. More COEs available in the next 3 months. Is this good news or is this bad news?
Or is this not news?
Oh, dear.
Oh, it's news.
It is news, though.
I think it's not quite news in terms of like a prompt to act. I would say, as in, oh, now it's got more, and then let's, what do? You
Go
go and score that deal, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is a hint of where the direction is, or at least that's what everybody's hoping for.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, the supply of COE comes from the number of cars and trucks and all that that's taken off the
That
road.
deregistering,
Yeah, this is why oftentimes in our articles we kind of it's easy to go into this tendency to just assume that people understand. But then the decision of how many COEs that are available for you and I to bid for, there is a calculation, and the basis of the calculation is number of vehicles that are taken off the road.
Is it more because there are more old cars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So-
than new
yeah,
cars.
so
But
broadly
is it a
speaking,
fair?
yeah.
Is it a fair thing when an individual is competing against companies that are buying
Yeah,
30
in bulk.
COEs at one time? You know what I mean? Should not these private hire companies and companies that are buying cars in bulk
Be limited, right?
No, have their own category and you deal with it.
Yeah.
Within that category, if
Oh,
that X
true.
number
That
of
is
cars
true,
are
that is
deregistered,
true.
then you go there. So I'm not competing with the individual.
Yeah.
I think that discussion it's very difficult to draw the line.
Have
Why?
they had this discussion?
It's often in every coffee shop, every taxi.
No, I'm talking about the,
In the
the
government.
proper people.
What is Nian Tjoe's opinion?
Yeah.
So
on this?
I think to face it squarely is there has been appeal. Many appeals made and,
okay.
in terms of getting it done. But I come from the position of asking, can it be done? Because we talk about, FD is talking about, you have private individuals versus corporates, right?
Yeah.
But do you understand? I mean, there's also the population or category of owners. I mean, you and I using a car, but it doesn't mean that I own it.
Yeah.
On one side, or the bank owns it because you're doing over hire purchase.
Yeah.
Other means of getting into the car, there could be some sort of a leasing arrangement. But these leases are not in the sense of the more typically criticized one of, oh, these are the companies that are checking up the COE to get rental, they are growing. No, it's the same hiring company or lease rental company you've been using for a long time. Right? So there's all this categorization. By that same token, there's also discussion or appeals about private hire vehicles should not be allowed to have their status change. Because oftentimes you see if they're like, so
right,
it goes
yeah.
back into the used market. Oh, this car is brand new. I'm like, very lightly used. No, this is a many 100,000 kilometer car
Yeah.
used to ply the roads.
Yeah.
So those are different measures that people have been talking about. Question, I think, is about enforcing it, because that is the free market where we are a little bit more creative.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's continue to talk to Nian Tjoe on the Big Show TV. Okay, we're talking about the article, more COEs available in the next 3 months. This is on the Straits Times digital. I'm not sure whether this is on the hard copy
Did
as
it
well.
go
As well,
into
as well,
print?
yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was
it-
last week when it
yeah.
was announced. Yeah.
I see. Okay. All right. So we're talking to Nian Tjoe, the senior transport correspondent at the Straits Times. Up next, Haley Steinfeld. This is Love Myself on Kiss 92.
I love this song. But anyway, so does this mean that the COE is not necessarily like any cheaper? It's just that there's more available. It hasn't changed.
Will
I
it
guess they
change? Will
bid.
it come down with the more COEs going on the market?
Do you
I come
see
back
it?
to this being a direction, right? If you have more and more and more, initially there will be
More
a rush,
supply,
right? There's
yeah.
more supply, but then we're still having the so-called more supply. It's a fraction of what it was
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we have people with impression that we need COE to be cheaper. What is cheaper? If it was, you know, and because we deal with this quite frequently, often, and so on, is that what is affordability?
It's relative,
fundamentally,
right?
It's relative.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody who started driving 20 years ago, your first car, maybe you used to pay, I don't know, $500-$600 a month
Yeah.
in installment.
And now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, what?
Yeah, this car is,
Crazy,
and
yeah.
now the amount getting thrown around, an affordable car is, I don't know, $2,000 a month in installments.
And people who are just starting to drive look at the COE and the price as a norm now because it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, yeah, you know, that's what it's always been.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's. But I think my personal feeling about this is, you did not buy a COE. You are trying to get into a car. So look at it in the total package, because from the salesperson's perspective, oh, the COE's gone up, gone down, whatever. I just want to know how much am I paying for this
Exactly.
thing that I'm going to be, you know,
Yeah.
have to finance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is, while it is an indication because it's such a big component of the total cost, but overall affordability is that full number, right? The big number that you're dealing with.
Why don't they just include the COE prices into the price of cars all the
It
time? You know,
always-
because
it typically is.
Is it all
Yeah,
the
it
time?
typically-
Like
not-
if you go into a showroom, it's like, is that with or without COE?
It's usually the number is big enough, it's with.
Yeah.
Oh, the numbers are huge anyway
Yeah.
because
When you look at it and go, wow, yeah, COE is included.
Yeah. and,
It's quite obvious with and without, right?
and also when it's included, right, it's not saying that in the next tender, if it was $10, then it is factored in that your vehicle is plus $10. What they have is from typical dealerships, the way they price it is that they have a number that they are allowed or they are
Right.
able to afford,
yeah.
come what may, and then usually they're pretty close because they have people that this is their daily work, right? Trying to
Yeah,
get it as
analyze
close to
it,
the line
yeah.
as possible.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when it's saying being close to the line, you're also thinking of your competitors are also thinking, the feeling in the market is we're roughly in this number. Ballpark.
Yeah.
So when you eventually, whatever you sign for, a typical sales contract will say that there's a guaranteed COE or you're going to get a car within 3 months or longer or shorter. Some
Yeah.
this is immediate delivery. Those are usually the safest.
Guaranteed
Yeah.
COE, but what if in 3 months the prices drop? Do they offset that amount?
Yes. So we talk about how the companies have these analysts that are trying to get it as
Yeah.
close to the
Yeah.
mark as possible, right? They will also in the contract usually will have a rebate level.
Okay.
But the chance of them miscalculating, as it were,
It's very
that there's
low.
a fluke is very low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean,
Having said that, I mean, our COE system, as much as we have many critics, right? It is certainly a system that works. I think we've spoken about this before, and everyone has an idea of how we can tweak it to make it better and all that. But look, the powers that be, I'm sure, have thought about every single angle, to our COE system. And would you agree that this is the best?
That smile.
I mean, it's not ideal. It's not ideal.
I think,
But-
it's a huge topic.
But no one's smarter than our government.
No, according to my taxi driver.
Exactly.
I
You
think
see-
it's the best
you see,
we can
everyone's
come up
got
with.
their
You see, this is the
opinion.
problem. This is the
Everyone's-
problem. Over the years, all the taxi drivers think that they are the smartest.
It's not
They
a
always have an
it's-
idea.
You know what? It's not a
an
problem.
answer.
It's a good thing that they have an opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, of
And
course.
can you imagine if everybody spoke the same language? What fun would it
No,
be?
but sometimes
You know?
some of them are just ridiculous.
No, but that's okay. Let them be
Okay.
ridiculous. They're not harming
you
your
know why
life.
not? You're on their side because if not, you
I'm
take
not-
them all the time.
I'm not on their side. Oh my gosh, today I was coming in morning, right? And we get a lot of cyclists coming down
Yes.
Brattle Road at 5 o'clock. My Grab driver, was it Grab, whatever it was, came so close to the bicycle that was in the left lane. And I said, careful, there's a bike in front of you. He swerved a bit to the right, not even a meter, and just
Cuts back.
he shifted a little bit to the left just to try and scare the guy, and then
Yeah.
and honked him and then drove. I'm like,
Yeah,
in my mind, I'm like, why did you do that?
exactly.
Yeah.
I rated him 1 star and made a complaint because that was highly dangerous.
Yeah.
It was intentional.
But you know what?
You know?
He hates what he's doing. This is
No,
how I
he
feel.
hates cyclists,
He
and
No,
doesn't
he hates
think he
cyclists,
needs to
and,
be on
and
the
he also
road.
hates what he's doing. It's not
Maybe.
ideal. He would rather be doing something else,
Maybe.
But this is what he does to
But
just,
doesn't mean you need to hate everyone on
Exactly.
the road. You know, I thought that
Exactly.
was
Pretty
awful.
toxic.
I've met a taxi driver once years ago when I was still taking taxis. He's so frustrated with people out there. One of these days, he wants to hit a pedestrian.
Oh,
I'm
dear.
like, what?
wrap up.
That time there were no
my-
like stars and stuff.
Okay. Well, there are lots of stars. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
so,
you, Nian Tjoe.
thank you so much,
We
Nian
need to
Tjoe.
read the news now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Anything else before we wrap?
Any final words?
Yes. Well, COE tenders this week.
Oh,
week,
tomorrow,
okay.
right?
What
Tomorrow.
is it now? 1,600 and above. What is the?
It's very complicated. That was take another 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we don't have 3 minutes.
but it's
Challenge.
still 120,000.
That's on
thereabout,
yes
right?
for the big cars.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay,
Wow.
thank you so much, Nian Tjoe, for joining us.
Hey, thank
Always a
you.
pleasure.
We'll see you next week.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Nian
Bye.
Tjoe.
Okay.